Hey everybody, my name is Launders, and we're going to be looking today at a game between Torqued and NRG, a game in which Torqued beat NRG 2-1, Cobble, Overpass, and then I think Inferno. They took two maps off of NRG. A team that, if you haven't been paying attention, are 13-4 in ESL Pro League and 14-1 in ECS. I've casted ECS this season, and I have not been more impressed by a North American team since Cloud9 won the major. But that's a long time in North American CS time. So this is a pretty astounding result. Torqued are comprised of everybody you can see here on the left: Steel, Poyo, Swag, AZK, and Kusta, and it seems like they're finally starting to hit their stride. It is an absolute feat to beat a team like NRG, who a lot of people are saying, you know, who knows how good they're going to be when they get to LAN, and nobody knows the answer to that question. I'm personally confident that they'll be just fine, but it's fair to say that, you know, maybe they're just online for the time being until they prove themselves at an offline event. All right, that's fair. But this is online. All right, this is, if anything, if they turn out to be LAN chokers, this is where they should shine. And Torqued, I mean, this is only one team that Torqued beat recently. Torqued beat 2-0'd NRG, 2-1 Complexity, and 2-0'd Ghost. A lot of low-tier invite teams, but NRG are not a low-tier invite team by any means. If they choke, it's because of pressure, but not because of game plan. These guys are ready. But I mean, with one taps like that, oh my god, excuse me. Something's on fire. That's what I get for living in LA. 1v1 on the pistol. Auto director not doing me any favors. That's fine. I like this camera. It's really telling the whole story. And an easy pistol win. Didn't get to see NRG play Cobblestone, I think, at ECS. I don't think I've seen them play Cobblestone yet. But the fact that they beat them here, they lost to them on Overpass, and then beat them on Inferno is still very impressive, because NRG's Inferno is extremely strong. I think there are holes in it, and I'd like to see if those holes get exploited, but it's surprising that Torqued were not only able to identify them, but then also take advantage of them. A couple of nades here at long. NRG move out towards A just to clear everything out. See if there's any free kills that can be had. Once you cross this line right here, once you cross that line, past that smoke, you're opening yourself up to a plethora of new angles. But before you do, you're in a pretty safe spot, and there's a lot of close angles for pistols to get kills. So a lot of value in clearing out A in this way. Smokes over the site. Smokes over the site. They've actually got out of the choke point. A lot of pressure on Steel to get frags. Goes ahead and gets 2 or 1.5. Not so bad. No bomb plant down. That's a very clean anti-eco. They also invested a lot in SMG, so this is going to count towards them moving forward into the next anti-eco. Another what could be cleanup round. They saw that armor buy as well. Certainly, NRG at this point, totally underestimating Torqued. I mean, they know the caliber of the players they're going up against, but this is a meteoric rise that we've seen in the last couple of days. I mean, you could say it's a fluke to have one of these upset wins, but to have 3, 4 in one qualifier. This is to qualify for ESL 1 Belo Horizonte, aka Belo Horizonte, I think is the correct way to pronounce it, but I probably messed it up. And this is for a very big LAN event, man. This is going to be the upper tier of events that Torqued can play at, considering they have banned players. So it's actually very important that they get to these events. I also thought that it's kind of a little bit early to expect these kinds of results out of them, but what does anyone know at this point? Torqued are really just inspirational in that way, because they're doing something that there's no precedent for, you know? You never had 4 players that have been out of the pro scene for so long come back and still produce results in a major way. So another anti-eco. And everyone on cleanup crew once again. AZK decided to play that close angle with his MP9. And Auto Director hates looking at kills. Auto Director in pacifist mode. So overall, it's not bad. Move on to the first rifle round, the good stuff. The meat. It might be a good idea for me to try to direct what's going on, but it also might not. So we're gonna rely on Auto Director until he falls asleep in his chair, and then we'll take over. You know, if he stops watching the tapes, we hear some snoring in the background, I'll take over. Torqued have A control. One problem with this round, in my opinion, for NRG, is they haven't pushed them back off A. Very free map control to get, in my opinion. And when pro teams don't do this, they risk setting the other site on full alert and allowing for fast, big flanks to occur. Good angle from Pollo. First kill and 90 damage will count for a lot. Fast flank is out, so you can see from the #1 player on the mini-map. Everybody else rotating in. Come on, Auto Director, thank you. They move into the site, but they've taken long enough that this big flank might actually matter. Drop control shut down. It's only 3 on the site now. AZK is going to be facing them right at the front. Steal here. Very important position. It's actually tough now that he's been spotted to get ahead. Swag's also very hurt and only has an AWP. Now Steal. What's the play? Comes around the corner of the smoke. Breezes over here at Chicken Coop. Cirque has decided to recede into a much more passive position. But the delay is working. Ethan has a very powerful position, but what a nade from Steele. He's waiting to smoke out as well. I don't know if they're going to go for this. It looks like not, actually. Swag had the kit, but he didn't want to die with the op. I kind of respect this decision. You know, if the kills come free, go for the retake. If they don't, think about the next round. #1, NRG will not be able to afford an op. #2, they know that 2 people stayed alive, so they won't be able to quite simply Mac 10 up at no risk to them. They won't necessarily know exactly how much money Torqued have. Now, Torqued have a complete force up here, but they force a 5 AK buy. They keep the op, which is a big move, and they did a little bit of extra damage at the end of the last round, too. Ideally, you know, Steele stays alive in that situation. I don't think he's planning to die, but it could be worse. So this is kind of a buy that you don't normally get in this situation after what should be a reset, where it's actually quite strong. But they still risk the double save. 5 players here at Long B, ready to execute. They come out. Breeze pops ahead. Pollo gets a jumping mag 7-shot, traded out by Daps instantly, but Swag's here at the auxiliary position of drop, watching Long B. And now it just comes down to Fugly and Daps, who have to execute on the site all by themselves. One of these players' hands is busy as he plants the bomb. They don't have to watch their backs, which is very strong, but it looks like they've moved out just in time to be able to trade efficiently. 2v1 situation. First kill comes out for Fugly. This could be a big clutch. Swag, he hears the movement. Now he has the SOP. Decides to play it carefully. USB to the face for Fugly. A round on the board for Torqued. It's 4-1. Potentially a reset, as NRG just don't have that much money to spare. They might buy, though. I mean, they're kind of in the same position as Torqued were last round. Another round where they had a really strong buy. They decided to go 5 kind of towards B. Didn't clear out A, but that didn't seem to be the big problem for NRG. The big problem was trading on site. The setup was strong for Torqued, so they used the Mag 7 close long B that was strong. The op and drop was a huge surprise, I'm sure. So certainly a lot of good points to bring up about the setup from Torqued. Off angle from Swag, as a few players are getting ready to come out of the fishbowl. Thing is here, this is not favorable when you have to fight against long. Don't like this at all, in fact. No smoke down for Swag, and he's got an open lane to shoot at them from. This is something I always talk about when we're casting pro matches, is that if you don't take long control when you're going to hit A, then you subject yourself between a crossfire from here and the door. How are you supposed to beat that? You've got to smoke it out. You gotta smoke it out. But since Swag had a teammate, he could sit there, watch the cross, and have his teammate watch the flank. Eco round on the board. 5-1 for Torqued. NRG only have Glocks. Not a single flashbang as they run through the fire. Oh boy. It doesn't seem like they're gonna get a lot done here. Bombs down. There is one trade, that's not bad. Every kill counts, it really does. Not in just that way that, you know, it's not just like, you know, the thought that counts. Something nice you say to people. Every kill really does count. You think about it, it's an absurd amount of money. You know, $4,000-$5,000 sometimes. $5,000-$6,000 on rifle rounds. Nades, armor, gun. That's money that you could have or not have to spend on another round. So as much as we don't really talk about minimizing deaths, it's a huge factor. Swag saving that op, for example. It's able to get them to 4-1. Counter boosted drop. It's a change up in the setup. Kusta's actually got the op at long B and they have one at drop. This is very tricky. And I mean, as long as NRG don't go back to A, the setup at B is going to be extremely strong. Swag picks the perfect time to pop up and take his op shot, and this is beautiful. This is beautiful. Because as soon as that op shot went off, Breeze said, hey, why don't I just peek long B since the op is at drop? Why would you ever expect an op to be also not only on the map, but on the same site? That got him a free kill. Haters will say it's fake. 3v3 and NRG certainly aren't out of the round. Main problem for them is they know that two ops are still up. And with the time ticking down, they've only now gotten back to clear out A. Swag is taking a very kind of info-indulgent position on top of the sight box. It's also kind of dangerous if someone comes out with a fast peek or a pop flash for a peek on a wide swing. But no one's here to capitalize just yet. Ethan's only now made his way over. The three of them are going to have to try to push up. Daps is somewhat of a forward position. This could be tricky, especially if Swag sees somebody else first. Footsteps made. Swag from the back of the site gets his kill. AZK also helps him out. Cirque with the amazing flick. Takes the face off of Swag. Bombs down now in a 2v1. The Molotov is missed on default. Cirque sees an opportunity. Sits here to watch heaven, but thankfully for Torque, they've made a big rotate around. A shot's missed. A wide swing with the CZ is good. And Cirque is killed. That should do something for their economy. Might actually influence a precarious buying situation for NRG. We'll see what they decide to do. 5-minute energy in this situation. I think about it. But at the same time, they're a team that I think of any team right now, you can see that their preparedness are one of the hallmarks to their success. They have a lot of different setups, a lot of very specific flashes and nades they use versus teams. And sometimes that can be a bad thing. We'll get more into that after this. So there was some money invested. Ah, looks like we're okay. No, I take it back. What could be an eco round? One here. Swag, Clutch Master. Ethan's gonna be aware. Don't know if he heard anything here. They heard the boost. They heard the boost. So this is a big play from Swag. He might be able to get a kill. Wow, Ethan's so aware. From the top of the trees, manages to realize his internal clock is ticking. I don't see anybody now. Is the big flank a realistic possibility? Let me check. There he is. Bang. Out-timing Swag. One of 2 rounds at NRG 1. One's an eco. Must be a little bit worrying. Standard nades go out on B. Olaf smoke is really good because you throw this smoke and people throw so much utility in response. Like, see, the second one comes out, they stop throwing utility, and Daps can now safely get somewhat aggressive. It's actually performing the walkout here, which you wouldn't really expect when you know that the other team has multiple ops. Maybe they don't think they're doing it again. But the entry is made. 2 actually, as Kusta gets killed at the back of the site. 3 now with a great spray down from Breeze and Swag from the outskirts. In connector, gets an op kill. Good nade damage from Steel. Saw a couple of good nades from him this game. More than just a difficult retake in this situation. Very standard rotate here as they counter boost drop and decide to flank long. Can be hard to deal but with an op on long B, it's going to be more than a feat if Steel manages to get out of this. Yep. Oh! What a shot from Swag. My goodness.
Do you think that was a setup right there? Or do you
that was in the milliseconds. In this situation, Pollo, the setup was fine. You guys had an op. I mean, I guess the one thing is that Chicken Coop was smoked out, which was smart from NRG. I think they maybe did that on purpose with the walkout. Maybe it was mollied and the Opper Kusta smoked out himself and then moved out. But honestly, having the op in that situation versus a walkout is your ideal situation as torqued. So out of spawn, you couldn't really call anything different. It's kind of up to the Opper to make sure he's in the best position possible. Torqued are forcing up here, and I'd like to just make a point about why it's actually can be bad to be too prepared. And that's because if you are too prepared, then there's going to be too many tells in your play. And in Counter-Strike today, if you play online leagues only, you're good, because you can prepare as much as you want. When you start traveling to lands all the time, and oh my god. Before I can even finish talking, a spray down for Pollo. The 2 MP9 kills. Kusta from the back is able to capitalize with the CZ, and Pollo puts down another. The force up in response. They convert 2 ops. AKs. Guns for the whole team. My god. The straight up rush B. We've only seen NRG mid-round to late A once. I think one problem at this point in the half is that they haven't spent enough time conditioning Torqued into being worried about A, whether or not they go there. It's one big mistake of a lot of teams. They don't have a strong enough default. They do too many set pieces. And they calcify the defense, and the defense gets better at holding. And the takes get weaker and weaker. As we can see. Rush B, rush B, rush B. What's the last thing that we heard Pollo talk about at the end of that last round? Was it the setup or... And so every time you go back to that same site, that team has talked about one more thing they should change or focus on for the next round, so that doesn't happen again. That's why I can count against you to fail going to the same site over and over again. That's why it's always good to keep your options open. That's why before committing to something, you should always take the time to try to condition your opponent, or at least make them unsure about what's about to happen, as opposed to ramming your head into a wall like it seems NRG are doing in this game. If you're too prepared, it can be too obvious. And that's why you need to be fluid. That's actually a great second molly. It's a fallback molly. There's a read. There's a good one. Into the next round, full rifle. Last time NRG will likely see 5 AKs. You can check to confirm. They'll probably have a couple. Next round. It's been called as an A default. 3 people here to commit. Steel actually waited on the corner of the smoke to get in the face. What was supposed to be map control. Ooh, go ahead and get 2 by yourself. Cirque's in a position because they've been losing so many rounds. He can't even op. That's his bread and butter. And Cirque's a great player all around, but you have an opper as good as Cirque, you want him mopping. Nonetheless, excellent confident play. That's them to 5v3. And torqued. I mean, they should get the 12-3 half. You don't know if they will, but... Yeah, it's hard to say. I don't know if there's a molly going out into Chicken Coop or if it's just a smoke. But I like it if it's just a smoke. It's pretty cool. Good play from Breeze. Great kill from Fugly as well before the bomb gets down. Not rushing the situation whatsoever. Swag alone now, 1v2. Players are low, but he's got a secondary out. His sidearm. Oh, gotta build that thing every time. CZ flick to the head of Fugly. Takes him out easily, but the wide peak. with a crouching slow swing. Sounds like a Tekken combo. Whatever it was, Breeze. Eking out to the bomb site. Going farther than Swag would expect. Make sure to clutch that round safely. It's good stuff. There's a difference between what you would call a wide peak and what that was, where you're basically taking an off angle. Oh no, oh my gosh, whoa. The defense has been circumvented. Daps has already made his way up to A. And Swag gets pushed into a very awkward spot as well.
Yeah, I don't like that.
We know they've been playing together. Who will see who first? Looks like Kusta. He's got the sharper eyes.
Yeah.
AZK, last man at A.
Also, so I just took a play, I think.
First line of defense,
Probably heard you rotating as
sitting
well.
in the stables. Just gonna hear all these footsteps call for the rotate. Can't get that first kill. Could be a massive one. We'll see. Kusta still in a pretty prime position, but this Molotov is getting way too much damage in. You have to assume that their Torque's chances are low. NRG blow this round. They've got more problems than simply losing to Torque. This would be a whole different beast. First kill comes out though, but in response. Nice flick from Cirque. So there is a difference between what a wide peak is and why you should wide peak and why you shouldn't. And if you have 20 HP and you wide swing on somebody, you wide swing on an opper, there's a chance they miss. You are counting on them missing. But if you know where somebody is, it never makes sense to spend more time moving than you need to, because you will always get the shot off first. So if you know exactly where someone is, you can pre-aim them perfectly. You swing exactly as much as you need to. Use the Peeker's advantage. And Peeker's advantage is more than just the server as well. One thing, there's a post on Reddit about this is really good, and it was that Peeker's advantage comes down to who is more prepared. So server stuff aside, on land, there's still whoever peaks can shoot first, and that's because they are more ready to shoot than the person waiting. It's psychological. Crazy fast push out into B with the split. Great Molotov on Breeze as well. And what looks like pistol number 2 for Torque. If we're talking about nails in the coffin in any upset, 2 pistols is supremely important. Puts a lot of ease on the rifle rounds. Trades come out. Kusta 3-kill round, all headshots. Beautiful stuff. 5 away from closing this out on Cobblestone. The other weird thing about winning the pistol round when you already have a great half is that you get different buying decisions out of the other team. Like when you're closer to losing, you start buying differently. You start making worse buying decisions. You get worried, you know? You get worried like you're 2 hours late to a Black Friday sale. You start becoming irrational. The disadvantage is mostly psychological. I mean, the fact that you haven't been winning rounds, oh yeah, it feels bad. But we have a rollover economy in CS. You know, every round is a new round. So sometimes it's always better to save for the full buy because you're more prepared for the rifle rounds than it is to give an enforce just because you're down 13-4 or something, some scoreline like that. Not any specific reference to this round, but we might see that happen as Torque get this 12th and maybe the 13th. I like Cirque's buy. Part of the reason he's doing it because he has a deagle and he is the opper. A deagle is pretty good because a deagle without armor, I should say, is pretty good because say you were gonna buy, you can use this in pugs too. Say you're gonna buy 2 rounds in a row, like you might lose a pistol and then you have 2 rounds where you're gonna have to save. So you want to buy something on the second, you might force up, spend all 1400, get a deagle half armor. But what if you don't buy anything on the 3rd round and you just get deagle twice? Would you ever rather have 2 rounds with a deagle or 1 round with the deagle and half armor? I think one of the good reasons for only going with the deagle, the way I see it is that a lot of times you set yourself up to hit 1 shot, crosshair placement, slowly creep into the angle. If they show up, you hit them, 1 shot, you don't even take damage. It's like an op. It is. And when it comes down to spamming and stuff, I mean, you're pretty much dead anyway, right? Oh, that was dirt. That was dirty. Geez, Steel over here making the Khalil look viable. That's a tall task. Tall order? Big task? I don't know. And here it comes. Everyone's made sure to get nades. That's very good. Cirque obviously was prudent enough to limit his expenses. Procure that op and half armor. Torqued, they're doing something better now than we saw from a lot of the rounds from NRG. Oh, wow. Wow. That flash was not good, actually. Kusta just kind of threw it. You know what I mean? Like, he thought about the flash. He might ask someone to show it to him, but he was like half asleep in class and just kind of threw it. It seemed, anyway. That angle is very hard to flash, but there's set flashes so that you can make sure that anybody crack spotting with an op is totally blind. And I don't think Cirque was full blind. From what we saw in the UI, it looked like Cirque was barely blind, and because of that, didn't move. He asked for it is what I'm saying. Fugly, last left. On the bomb site. Playing ring around a Rosie, but can't delay long enough. 2v2, and the post plan is on. Not too bad, it seems, for NRG. They've got Daps, who still has his Molotov and HE, and a kit. But Steel's here to watch the flank and remove all that utility from the round. In this situation, you think, all right, very little chance that Cirque wins, but there it is. Oh my god, he's able to capitalize on a early rotate out of the site from Steel. But no matter, another clutch goes the way of Torqued. 2 to close out, and NRG. This is one of the rounds where it's like, you know, should we just force? But they're actually not going to. A lot of teams would, considering how bad it is right now. And on CT side, next round, well, they have so much money next round, it's hard to say. I guess it's hard to say no to. So a lot of teams don't want to play for match point. And I mean, I understand why. Because nobody wants to play for match point. It's too daunting of a task, 10 rounds in a row. I'd rather just risk it on pistols that are actually quite strong and try to win, but yeah. No, it's tough. It's hard to say what's better sometimes. This round's a total write-off for NRG. No guns recovered even. Last interaction will probably take place in a few moments. Auto director. Thank you. Good headshot. Torque kept it pretty simple, man. I feel like NRG didn't even force them to get to level 2, you know? There wasn't even the need, really, in the first half for Torque to go for long B control. It was like NRG setting up for B hits somewhat early into the round, and then committing to them. And then at a certain point, it was almost like a tilt call, like rush B, like, hey, we're better than these guys. We get paid more money. Okay, I've met Shaq, you know, let's go. That seems to have counted against them. Torque very well prepared on what could be the final round as they push out, but there's a nice hold in store for Torque.
Holy shit. Was it like 4 mollies?
Yeah, there were really good
Like
counter grenades.
10 FPS.
Lag them out. That's what they said in warm-up. This round will drop their FPS. Because they know Torque aren't sponsors, so they don't have good computers. This is an interesting spot. I would have liked to see this round with, you know, Swag at full HP, but they don't have the bomb. That's another thing that's tough. That's might have been a little bit risky for NRG in the 2v2 40 seconds up. They know where the bomb is, and they've also found a target. 2 Molotovs are out. He hits the 1-tap.
Oh my god, wait.
Amazing stuff, and Swag, how patient will he be? He can't. Can't close it out. Good clutch from Ethan. My goodness gracious. In terms of takeaways, man. First of all, they're clearly not in the right headspace if rounds like that get that close. It's really hard to quantify some of the reasons why huge man advantage turns into a round loss on some rounds with teams. Because it's such simple stuff sometimes, communication, like what's worth pushing, what's not. And some of that stuff, some days just makes sense, some days it's just confusing with your team. That stuff, you know, needs to get sorted out for consistency's sake. But otherwise, it was mainly their T side, I think. That even on Cobble, a map where you can kind of have a simple T side, it's maybe a little bit too simple. Maybe they cut a little bit too many corners. Another round where Torqued here are going to decide to clear out A while they have pressure on long B as well. They're trying to maintain this default.
Dude, his movement's so retarded.
And this is not a round that I like to see. Oh my god. I was going to say, when you go down lower A, not having long A control could really count against you. There's still a player up here as well. They didn't actually clear it out. I think this might make him feel a bit too comfortable having gotten that one kill, but Swag here flanking Heaven, getting 2 kills. We'll probably just end this right here and now. Ethan in a pseudo 1v1 with his former opponent. Both players realize what's going on here. Ethan probably clears this. But Swag peeks first. Easy W. Easy Gatka. Takeaways. NRG's T side wasn't thorough enough. Maybe they didn't respect Torqued enough. But the craziest part about this is it's a BO3. So we're going to move on to an Inferno next. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like if you did. Really appreciate that. We'll try to do more of this content. I got a very sad DM today that was like, Launders, I watched your old Nuke Silo video because it reminds me of old Nuke and I really like that. And it also said you haven't uploaded a video in a month. And that hit me in the feels, dude. I'm sorry. So I'm going to try to upload some more of these videos, because these are cool, and I want to watch this demo for myself, see what was going on. So, oh, and make sure you check out the store, because we're doing cool shit. Next thing releases on May 1st. Everything in the graveyard is not coming back, and all of our stable items will be restocking on the 1st if you don't see them there now. Store.boxer.gg. No sponsors. Peace out.